Welcome everybody to part 4 of the Pokemon Gold walkthrough. Last time we got done beating up on good old Falconer for our first gym badge, and we received a phone call from Professor Elm himself telling us that his assistant is waiting in the Pokemon Center to give us something, and they give us the mystery egg that we got earlier on. You cannot move on into the next town until you do this, so you obviously go and do it. Inside the egg is a Togepi. It takes around, I think, somewhere around 2,800 steps minimum for it to hatch. Highest is around like 10,000 or so, so get to walking. Always keep it with you. One thing to note is that I'm recording this on a Tuesday, and the reason why I'm saying that will be mentioned here in a bit. As you can see, got myself a berry. This is about like 2 days after recording the last part, so it doesn't really take that long for berries to show up again. You need to start getting them because you're going to need them for a later part. And here we are introduced to Tuscany Tuesday, who wasn't here before. She appears on Tuesdays only in this part of Route 29, I believe. And she's known as the weekday siblings. Talk to them on the days of the week where you are able to find them, and they will give you an item that can be held on that powers up certain kind of moves. She gives us the pink bow that powers up normal type moves. The weekday siblings only appear after defeating Falconer, which is why I needed to defeat him before going back to go and talk to her, figure get out of the way. And also on the way I talked with both Joey and Wade to get their phone numbers that I forgot to do in the previous parts, and now we are moving on to what's more important in life, moving on with this game. Back into Violet City, we've got a couple places that we need to go to. The first place we're going to go and visit is going to be the ruins of Alph, where you can go get yourself an Unown if you ever feel the need to. Unowns are, they're not the best thing to get. By the way, you can get a poison, not poison, but paralyzed cure berry in that little tree there. They only learn one move, the hidden power move, which, for those of you who do know, Hidden Power is one of those moves that changes its type of attack depending on what levels you are and all that good stuff, and we'll get more into that here in a bit. We are now solving a puzzle in order to be honest, I don't know exactly what solving the puzzle does other than it just being completely for fun. I don't think it puts you in any new part of the Ruins of Alph. However, they do make this a little bit more interesting in the Crystal version, and then the Generation 4 Heart Gold, Soul Silver versions. The reason why I saved the escape rope from earlier is because I wanted to use it in this place. However, I did not know that it was not made until the Crystal version, where behind where I'm doing this puzzle, it has a little sign where it shows unknown spelling something. In this case, in this room, if you're playing the Crystal version, right in the back there, it'll have a word saying escape. If you use an escape rope right there, you don't lose the escape rope, but then when you go back inside, there'll be a hole there and it'll have a bunch of items. Now, I thought that they did this in the Gold and Silver version. However, it is Crystal only, so I completely wasted my own time getting out of the Sprout Tower for absolutely nothing. And that was our first look at an Unown. The thing about Unowns is that they appear as different letters of the alphabet. We saw F there, and we are now seeing a B right here. Again, their only move is Hidden Power, which changes its attack type based on what stat you have as far as health goes, as far as attack goes. All those go into play, and it can, depending on what it is, it can be a fire attack, a grass attack, ghost attack, all depending. If you're really willing to do all the math to figure it out yourself, be my guest. I remember at one point I had an Unown, raised it to like level 50, and I think it had Hidden Power was a psychic type, so I decided to keep it, and it actually worked out pretty good. This guy here who's blocking the path, he will not let you go any further unless you beat Falconer and then afterwards get the mystery egg. He will stop you like the guy in Generation 1 and say, hey, you should go do this before moving on. However, when you are done doing all those, when you head back out, you can talk to him and he'll give you a Miracle Seed that power up grass type moves. And now we are in ourselves of Route 32, where there's going to be a lot of trainers to fight. And as we're fighting them, because a lot of them are what we've already fought before in the first place, let's go ahead and get all these stats down on what you can run into. If you're playing the Silver or Crystal version, you can run into an Ekans. Ekans is a Silver-only Pokemon. Nobody playing Gold will be able to run into it, so you will not see me running into it. About a good 30% chance at all times of the day in the Silver version. However, in Crystal, they do not appear at night. In the gold version, you can run into Rattata as well as silver and crystal. The times are completely different. Gold version you can run into at any time of the day, morning, afternoon, and night, usually around 30 to 40%. Silver, on the other hand, only have a 5 to 10% running into it. I guess they wanted Rattata to be a little bit more rare to get in the silver version. And 30% all around in the crystal. Bellsprout, 30% during the morning, afternoon, 20% at nighttime. Both gold, silver, crystal version, 20% all around. You can also run into a Mareep, again, gold and silver versions. You can run into it 20% morning, afternoon, 10% at night, so it's an all-around catch, a lot easier to get in the morning, afternoon. Hoppets as well, 10% in the daytime, so it's not one of those rare catches, does not appear at night. If you are playing the crystal version, you can also run into a Pidgey. I don't know why Pidgey's only exclusive to crystal version, but you know, what the hell, only 5% chance anyway, so big deal. You can get yourself a Wooper as well, golden crystal version as well, 4% in the morning, however 35% at night, which is why I am doing the certain part at night, because yes, I do intend on catching myself a Wooper. One thing about this playthrough is that I'm trying to make what I usually get a little bit different as far as Pokemon go, to make it a little bit more interesting in my own sense. Now, I always said I was Cyndaquil, and it's hard for me to choose any other one other than that, so, obviously I'm going to pick him no matter what. Pidgey is an older pick. I usually never pick it anymore other than the first time I ever played it, and I figured, what the hell, for nostalgia's sake, might as well get him. I have never once had a Wooper at all in playing this game, so I figured I'd do that right now, get a Wooper and a Quagsire. Talk back to Liz, and then she'll give you her phone number. Nothing really more to say on that. Before I keep going on with the little stats and whatnot, we're going to be running into our next catch here, Mareep. Mareep's another one that I'm usually on and off with. Sometimes I'll get it, sometimes I won't get it. I figured I'd get it this time because it is the best Thunder type to get in Pokemon, period, the way I see it, unless you include legendary types. But, if you're not including legendary types, then Mareep is the one you want to get because Ampharos kicks ass. And so, like I said, it's on off whenever I get it. Sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. I figured, I want a good all-around electrical type this time, and so I figured, pick up on Mareep. They can learn some other attacks as well that aren't just Thunder-based, so it was a pretty good find, the way I see it. Take another step over here and look upwards, and you'll be able to get yourself a Super Potion, another one of those hidden items. You're welcome. Last things you can find here on Route 32, you can run to occasional Zubat, which is an extremely rare, either early mornings 1%, nighttime 5%, which I can only say thank God because they're annoying enough to run into in the first place. And the final thing that you can run into out here, only if you have the crystal version, is a Ghastly, 5% at night. Why you would waste the time trying to get them out here is pointless in my opinion, because of the fact that you can get it in the Sprout Tower, about a good 35% at night there. You might as well get it there instead of wasting your time trying to get it out here. When you do get the old fishing rod, which we are about to here in a bit, you can also obviously fish in this area. With the old rod, you have about a good 85% of getting a Magikarp as always. However, the other 15% goes to getting a Tentacool. Never really saw the greatness of Tentacool. I mean, it's a water poison. I guess that's okay. This early in the game, it doesn't really learn that much other than if you can teach a Sludge Bomb, which is good. However, since I'm getting myself a Quagsire instead, I figured, having a water ground type's a little bit better than a water poison type. However, I must say, as much as I am not a fan of Generation 4, at least I think it's Generation 4, I think the champion, Cynthia or whatnot, uses a Tentacruel in her party. I'm not exactly sure, but I did think that was kind of cool to give Tentacruel a little shout out in one of those later games, because I mean, like I said, it's hardly ever used in some of the earlier ones, and showing its badassery by doing that probably made it a little bit more popular. I'm not exactly sure. There is a rumor going out that Magikarp Splash can only be used effectively while surfing in the water and running into a Tentacool. I have actually gone and tried this myself. It is a rumor, and it is not true, okay? Splash is completely useless against everything, okay? So anyways, only has this Fisherman, which happens to have Magikarp as well, level 15 Magikarp. The only one that's actually somewhat decent, because it does learn tackle. Every single generation just seems to have those fishermen where it just has a lineup of Magikarp that are just pathetic to take out and a pain in the ass. Why? It actually makes sense why I'm using Pidgey to do it, because obviously, using Quilava and its Ember isn't going to do as much, not to mention the fact that Mareep has not learned Thunder Shock yet. I think it's like around level 8 or so that I can learn it. I didn't feel like going around and grinding for that. I'm doing that off camera after this part, so then it's not painful for you guys to watch it, and it's just nothing but Magikarp. There's really nothing for Pidgey to ever really worry about. So we take care of this guy, and then there's one last fisherman to take care of. The rest of this part is just going to be taking on all the trainers in here, getting all the items, and then that's it. Everything else is taken care of in the next part. This here fisherman is another one that when you beat him, you can get his phone number. Which, if you are a huge fan of Seaking,
fuck yeah, Seaking!
Yeah, Seaking!
You're gonna go do it, that's right. Fight this guy, he goes against the legendary fuck yeah, Seaking. So, that one's really funny. I don't think he catches, that's another thing about, doing rematches with some trainers. I think some trainers do go out and get other Pokemon in their party between times when you actually go against them. I'm not exactly sure. I think this guy has a Seaking, and then he goes out and gets a Poliwag. I could be completely wrong. It's probably just Seaking the whole entire way, but I'm pretty sure there are some other trainers out there that do and get some other catches. But we are going to pick up this guy's phone number because, for God's sakes, who doesn't want to fight a Seaking, There is one more hidden item. We'll be getting to that here in a bit. Also, around Route 32, you can run into the sibling for Friday, which we will be taking care of in the next part, of course. I'm not exactly sure how the name is pronounced. I think it's YEAH of Friday. I couldn't tell you. It's fucking crazy. Oh, another thing that I'm noticing here, as I'm looking through the guide, once you get a radio, when you get into Goldenrod City, I think that's where you do get your radio. At certain times of the day, I'm not exactly sure when those are, I'll probably explain in the next part. Certain times of the day, you can, actually I think it's every day actually, one of the radio stations will tell you where swarms of Pokemon are going to be located. If there is ever a swarm of Quillfish, it'll tell you in Route 32. I'm pretty sure it's only if you, for fishing, and I'm pretty sure you need a good or a super rod in order to get it. But, sometimes of the day, you'll be running into a lot of Quillfish out in the waters, which Quillfish is actually a pretty decent Pokemon. If I remember right, I think Quillfish always goes into, the octopus kind, and that's actually not that bad of a gift. Wooper! There he is! I can't wait to catch one of my own. Anything that can learn Surf and Earthquake at the same time is actually pretty good with me, not to mention the fact that it learns Earthquake without having to teach it the TM, which also makes it a little bit better, and of course, because it is part ground. Obviously, electric attacks aren't going to work on Wooper. However, if you're going against a grass type, pray that they never hit you because of the fact that, of course, it'll be 4 times effective. Okay. And I do believe that should do it. One last thing to do here. Okay, well, 2 things. This guy's going to stop you, and he's going to say, how would you like to have a slow poke tail, which sounds pretty disgusting. I don't know about you. You come up to here where the Friday lady is. When she's not there, you will find a hidden Great Ball in that area. We will be talking to her to get the Poison Barb in the next part, and that'll do it for part 4. I'll see you guys next time. Oh, yeah, and this guy gives you the old rod. See you guys next time.
Fuck yeah, Seaking!
Yeah, Seaking!